Molise, a historically preserved green-filled escape in the heart of Italy. While other regions believe nothing ever happens in Molise, you can find blue oceans, rolling hills, and step back into time with the help of well-preserved culture and the architecture. Recently, I had taken a trip from Myrtle Beach to Molise. We had stops in Charlotte, London, and Rome. It was 12 hours of flying and 4 hours in layovers to make for a very long trip. After we landed in Rome, our traveling was not over. We then had to take a 3-hour train ride to Campobasso, the capital of Molise. In Campobasso, we visited Monumento e Gabriele Pepe. After spending some time there and walking down the tight streets and sidewalks, past old stone buildings, some new in color and some very old in texture and color, we found Monte, Monticelli Sepri e Sepuri, but they were closed from 3 to 7, so we had to come back later for dinner. Spending time walking through the city, we had stumbled upon a market. And this very large market ended up being down the street from Gabriele Pepe, and it runs every Friday. In the market, we found tons of clothes, handmade crafts, household items, and farm fresh foods. On our second day, we spent our time hiking the rolling hills of the countryside. We saw the Transumanza, an ancient tradition of large sheep herding that, while still very similar to the original tradition, has changed only in the way that herders no longer walk behind the sheep, they use modern technology like quads or bikes. After hiking the hills, we had strolled through the Fiat Wood National Park. After this, we spent some time walking through some old ruins that date back to the barbaric period. On our third day, we took a train all the way to the other side of the region to find ourselves in the city of Termoli, on the coast of the Adriatic Sea. This train was much slower than the train we took in from Rome, 3 times as slow to go about a third of the distance. In Termoli, we stayed in the beautifully luxurious Santa Lucia, right on the beach. When our time on the beach was done and we walked by Cathedral Termali, then we found ourselves in a very quaint ice cream place. Gelateria Lobra, and similarly to Pizza and Go, which we visited later, did not seem to be typical places that you would assume you would go in to eat. They are built into the old buildings that have been in the city for a very, very long time. Of course, we had to stop at Parco Nazionale di Abruzzo e Lazio e Molise before we left, even though basically none of the park is in Molise. We saw bears, wolves, deer, and even an eagle. The snow-capped mountains were very beautiful, and the waterfalls were just as breathtaking. With the coming sunset, we knew the next day meant a train ride to Rome to start a very long day of travel, and back to the hustle and bustle of our everyday lives. But we will never forget our tranquil and quiet escape that we found right in the heart of Italy.